Welcome back, everyone. It's your dude, Herman. And today's video is going to be a continuation of the last one where I talked about airlines and how to save money with airlines and potentially get a little bit more extra value from the money that you do spend while taking airlines. This one is going to be the same flavor, but it's about hotels. So let's get started. So when it comes to booking hotels, I've learned some nuances over the years that could have saved me money, or it could have at least, even if it maybe didn't save me money, I could have gotten a lot more value for the money that I did spend, such as through gaining status and then maybe just sticking with one hotel chain, knowing how to look for all my options when I was actually booking the hotels. For my first tip when it comes to saving money on hotels is definitely through travel cards. And this may be travel cards with flexible point currency, such as the Chase Sapphire Reserve, Chase Sapphire Preferred, Amex Gold, Amex Platinum, but also your hotel credit cards that are specific to a hotel brand. I personally like to keep a mixture of the two. When it comes to the hotel cards, my preferred hotel cards that I've gotten probably the most value out of any hotel cards have been the Chase Bonvoy Boundless, the Chase IHG Travel Credit Card, and the Amex Hilton Surpass. And in particular, two of these credit cards, which are the Chase Bonvoy Boundless and the Chase IHG Premier Traveler Card. That last one has changed the name so many times I kind of lost track, so I just the IHG card, and we'll leave it at that. Each of these cards, upon renewal every single year, you get an annual night certificate to use at any hotel. I think that annual night certificate for both of the cards actually cancels out the annual fee, and that's actually where you actually save money. Every single year can easily justify the card. I think anybody that even just travels once or twice a year could use any of these cards and justify them very easily because of it. One gives a 35,000 point night certificate for use at any other hotels, provided that the hotel night is either 35,000 points or less. But you can also have the option to top it off for another 15,000 points, and that's on the Chase Bonvoy Boundless. The IHG is very similar, where you can use it for a night that is worth 40,000 points or less, or you can top it off with as many points as you need to. That's actually one little distinction between both credit cards. With the Amex Surpass, the Hilton Surpass, that one is actually a very good credit card, though it does not give you a free night certificate. There is actually a good way that you can get some fantastic value out of it. And one of those is that it is actually the cheapest card that you can get priority pass access. If you don't know what priority pass is, this is an airport lounge network that has airport lounge access in airports throughout the world that I've used many times. If you're not looking to spend $500, $550 or dollars or up on these top tier premium credit cards, just so you can get lounge access at many airports, then the Surpass is probably the best option because it's the cheapest. And it actually has some really good point multipliers, which makes it a really good everyday use card. Out of these three, I've used these multiple times in multiple countries and have been able to get great use out of the points that I've accrued during my normal spend throughout the year, and also just by using the credit cards to pay for the hotel nights while I'm there, since the points multipliers on each credit card, when you use them at their respective hotel chains, will boost your points earning that you can then use later on to get free hotel nights at those hotels. Even though there are more hotel cards out there, I singled these three out because they have the biggest footprint out of all the hotel chains. There is another one, such as the World of Hyatt card and everything like that, which is for Hyatt, but their footprint is a lot smaller. But I know a lot of people have gotten really good value out of it, especially if you're going to all these sexy locations with resorts or just big cities. Then I think you will get great value. For me, I know I wouldn't, because I don't just go to big cities. Even, yes, I do, but not exclusively. So I wouldn't really be able to justify the card as easily as some other people. But if you do, and that's your normal travel habit, by all means, that card is probably right for you as well. And of course, I wasn't going to forget that for these credit cards, whenever you open them, they tend to come with some pretty big welcome bonuses. I'm going to leave their links down below. Some of them are going to be my own referral links, but some of these are also going to be just the public offer. Use whichever one you think is best, or if you have a friend that has these credit cards, make sure you ask for their referral links. That way, you guys can both get something out of this. But right now, the best bonus offer that I've seen is with the Marriott Bonvoy Boundless card from Chase. The public offer is actually 3 free nights, each worth up to 50,000 points each. But there is a much better offer out there, and for 5 nights, each of them 50,000 points each. So you're talking about almost a 250,000 point welcome bonus if you kind of look at it that way. That I think that's probably the best Marriott welcome bonus offer that you're going to find anywhere, even from Amex or any other hotel chain. Point number 2, it comes to hotel status. And this is actually something you can get with the hotel cards. Some hotel cards, such as the ones that I just mentioned, the Chase Marriott card will give you silver status, which it doesn't really do a whole lot, but it is a little better than nothing and gives you a later checkout. Also, the IHG card in particular, that one actually gets the status. It gives you platinum status at IHG hotels, which I've gotten really good benefit out of it, especially in Australia. And the Amex Hilton Surpass, it gives you gold status, which here in the US especially doesn't really do a whole lot, but if you're overseas, you can definitely get some good value out of it. Ideally, if you're always traveling, you want to try to find one hotel chain that you really like and probably stick with it if possible. If you're always a budget traveler, this may not be an option, but when you are able to stick with one hotel chain and you get high enough tier status, like in my case, I have platinum status also with Marriott, platinum status with IHG. Whenever I go to their hotels, especially overseas, I usually tend to get really good upgrades, like I did also in Australia, and same with the IHG card as well, and especially overseas because they're not going to get a lot of travelers who have status, because overseas the credit cards won't really give you status like they do here in the United States. So that's when I think you get the most value out of it. But even here in the United States, I've gotten some really good perks by having status at hotels, such as free breakfast when I stayed with my mom in the Sheraton in Times Square in New York City. That breakfast, I mean, you're probably looking at easily $40 per person, every single day. So for me, because of status, I got breakfast for 2 people. It was a breakfast buffet. It was phenomenal. And it was free for 3 nights. So I know just by having status, I saved on a top tier breakfast for 3 days for 2 people. So definitely worth it. But of course, at the same time, if you are a budget traveler, then I think status probably won't really matter to you, and you're probably better off just booking with just third party portals to find whatever is cheapest. And then maybe just get something at a convenience store if that's your thing. Nothing wrong with it. But if you do want kind of the higher perks, such as the ultra late checkout when you're staying, you can stay at the hotel until 4 p.m. and then you can check out, or you want to do early check-in. Kind of the reverse. You want to check in at like 11 a.m. The morning that you're gonna be staying at the hotel. You can do that as well, and they'll give you that courtesy. But that there's also a little caveat with that too, is with just as you get with booking airlines through a third party portal, you also don't want to book hotels through third party portals. There are exceptions, I'll go over them, but generally I wouldn't do so, because if you have status with a hotel, let's say even me, like at Marriott, if I went to Travelocity, book the hotel on Travelocity. Even if I put my Bonvoy number on the information, they're not going to recognize any nights. And even when I get there, they're not going to recognize my status either. So I could stay for an entire month and they're not going to recognize me staying one single night. So with that, I mean, if you stay a whole month, you're definitely going to get status just off that. But if you just booked it through the entire stay through a portal, you get absolutely nothing. So just be aware of that. You don't even get points with the hotel chain. So it just that's something that you want to keep in mind. But at the same time, if you don't have any type of loyalty preference or have no interest in trying to get hotel loyalty status, not a problem. Then third party portals, I think are fine. The best ones, if you're going to do this, I think are going to be the Chase and Amex travel portals, especially if you have a top tier credit cards such as the Chase Sapphire Reserve or the Amex Platinum, because a lot of these two cards in particular, if you book hotels, especially the high end hotels and their hotel collection programs, are going to come with status like benefits such as free breakfast for two, early check in, ultra late checkout, and you'll be also eligible for a room upgrade if you stay those nights. But with those two in particular, it's it's usually more for very high end hotels. So hotels that are probably easily going to cost you $500 a night and up. For my tip number 3 is decide what type of traveler you are. Are you a budget traveler that really doesn't care if you're staying at a capsule hotel where you have to share the bathroom with 10 people, which I personally don't like that. I want to have my own bathroom. But if you're on the other side of the spectrum, are you more of a luxury traveler and you want those experiences that are well manicured and a little bit more on the higher end, then that is how you should also strategize what type of hotel experience you really want and you're going to strive for. So for those travelers in the latter, you're going to want to try to pursue something like hotel status. Whereas if you're a more of a budget traveler, then that's how you need to tailor your experience just to save as much money as possible. And that's where the question comes in: where do you want to stay at a place like hotels, or do you want to stay at places like Airbnb? And with Airbnb in particular, is if you're traveling with a large group of people and you're to try to save as much money as possible, I think that's where Airbnb style hotels, or not hotels but nights, can probably be the most valuable, because you can get a lot of people in one place. You just rent the house for a week, and you probably save a lot more money than maybe if you stay in a hotel, especially if you have like 8 friends staying in one location. Yes, that's going to be probably the best option. But if you're like me and you usually travel on your own or maybe with just one other person, like I have done with my family in the past, then Airbnb is probably, or Airbnb style, because they're not the only ones, it's probably going to be your worst option. I wouldn't do it because, especially now, municipalities do force you to pay just as much for an Airbnb night as you would with a hotel chain. And not only that, with Airbnb, you're going to have to do a lot of the cleaning yourself. You're going to have to do the laundry, to change the sheets. You're going to have to make sure you clean the kitchen if you use the kitchen. And even on top of that, even if you clean, you may end up having to get stuck paying a cleaning fee on top of that. In the hotel, all that is already included. They're not going to tack on all those extra fees, and unless you, of course, you trash your hotel room, then they're going to charge you for it. But if you leave everything for the most part the way it was, you don't trash anything, you're not going to have to worry about that. But you're also not going to have to worry about doing laundry and things like that. So those are things to take into consideration. Is figure out what type of traveler you are or you want to be, and then decide. Because even before, I wasn't a traveler who was striving to stay at higher end places. I was more like, oh, I don't care, status or status seeking is for douchebags. I'm not. I don't want to be a douchebag. I don't care. But now I'm that douchebag that wants to get status and stay at a nice place and wants to have a good night experience every time I stay somewhere in a safe location with a good bed. And especially anybody who has been in the military, you know that a good bed can make or break your entire trip. And tip number 4, and my last tip, this is going to be if you have a somewhat flexible travel schedule, try to travel when people are not traveling. This usually tends to be, maybe at least in the United States, it tends to be between February and May. Usually, people during those months are not traveling, especially in a lot of places in the U.S. It tends to be very cold during those months, so a lot of people just kind of stay put. And there is also another one where it's usually October. October tends to be kind of a lighter month when it comes to travel. If you're going overseas from the United States out, then November is also a really good month because most people that do travel that are in the United States during November, they're traveling for Thanksgiving. They're not traveling outside of the U.S. I will be doing so, but most people don't. But if you have that flexibility, where let's say if you do want to take the family on a cheaper vacation that maybe you wouldn't be able to otherwise, probably a week that you could even take them would be Thanksgiving week, and go to Europe, go to Asia, or somewhere, because those flights overseas, they're going to be a lot cheaper. And so if you've always been kind of planning on that, that might be probably one of your cheapest and best options to really get the most value out of your money. And this is not just with hotels, this is with airlines, everything, because everything kind of tends to die down a little bit, and you might get a good hotel redemption rates for your points. If you're paying cash, of course, then you'll probably get better rates there as well, and be able to have probably a better experience than you may not have been able to otherwise. Well, that concludes my video today. The next video that I'm probably going to make is going to be something related to car rentals, which they also have their nuances. But I'm also going to be doing later on another video about travel credit cards by themselves, because I think there are some things to consider if you wanted to get travel credit cards, whether for hotels or for airlines, for anything like that, that I think need to be detailed in a more concise manner for everyone. But in the meantime, if you have any questions, leave a comment down below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time.